So I'm in the kitchen today and I'm going to make a impromptu dinner because I don't know exactly what I'm making. What I'm doing is I'm taking all of the ingredients that I find in the freezer, refrigerator, pantry, and whatever, and putting a meal together or several meals. So basically what I've come up with so far is this. Let me show you. Let me show you what it came up. So I have some turkey wings, tuna steaks, butter beans, coconut milk, peppers. Then I have some ziti, some pasta sauce, and the seasonings I'm going to be using are the sazon, and then we have this vegetable seasoning. We also have chopped chives, minced onion. This is a garlic and herb with black pepper and sea salts. Complete seasoning. Yeah. Salt-free seasoning. Bay leaf. Parsley flakes. Thyme leaves. Granulated garlic. Granulated onion. This is for the fish. We have blackened fish, Old Bay, seafood seasoning, and some garlic buffalo. Okay, so I had to stop and get the little baby girl, but I think I've decided what I was going to make with all of these ingredients. And I'm going to make some coconut rice with some butter beans. I'm also going to make some stewed down turkey wings. I'm going to take the tuna and cut up into cubes, season it down and cook it, saute it with peppers and onions. And I'm also going to make some baked ziti. So we'll get to working on all of that. We'll start seasoning things up. This is why you see so many different seasonings, because I'm going to be doing different things, various meals all at once. Because one, I have a big family. This is one of 7 children and my husband, so we eat different meals. Some people eat this, some people eat that, and things like that. So this is a way, you know, for me to get a couple of meals done. So I'm going to get started on my rice first. So the first thing that I'm doing is I'm washing my rice. I'm using parboiled rice. I don't usually use parboiled rice. And for those who don't know, parboiled means pre-cooked. I usually use the long grain. I prefer medium grain, but I use long grain rice also. So you just, I wash my rice a couple of times till it runs clear. The water runs clear. I take like most of the starch off of it. And then after that, we're going to get started adding the coconut milk. When I add the coconut milk, I don't add much water. First, I add mostly coconut milk, and if I need a little more liquid, then I'll add the water in. So I've added 1 can of coconut milk already to the rice. I'm going to add the other one, and again, this is what I'm using, the Goya coconut milk. And then I'm going to mix it to see if we need any more liquid. That's good. That's good enough. I don't want to add any more liquid. I don't add anything else. I don't add salt. I don't add seasoning. I just wanted to soak up the flavors of the coconut milk into the rice, because the beans and the other food that I'm going to make is going to be so flavorful that the rice is just there, you know, to cleanse your palate and to complement the other things that are savory. So I have 2 pots going now with peppers and seasoning in it. This one is going to be, this is the base for the butter beans. This one over here is the base for the turkey wings. And basically the seasonings and the peppers consist of, I put a little bit of chopped garlic in it. I forgot to say earlier that I was going to use, I use this minced garlic. This time, this minced garlic. But other than that, what you see in these 2 pots are thyme leaves, minced onions, salt-free seasoning, bay leaves, granulated garlic, granulated onion, garlic and herb with black pepper and sea salt, chopped chives, and did I say complete seasoning? Yes, complete seasoning. and a little bit of Sazon. I also season up the turkey wings with similar seasonings. All the things that I showed you in the beginning, that's what I'm using, with the exception of the seasoning for the fish. Okay, now I'm going to add my turkey wings to this pot. And to this pot over here, I'm going to add my butter beans. So here's our butter beans that we're going to have stewing down with the seasonings and peppers. This is the brand of butter beans that I used. You can use any brand that you choose to, but I just used these Goya butter beans that was available. Then over here, I have the turkey wings stewing down, as you can see. And those will take some time. I will stew them down for about 90 minutes. I like mine's really soft, so those will stew down. I'm going to add chicken broth to that as well. And then over here, the rice is done. I brought it to the boil, and then after I brought the rice to the boil, I turned the flame down really low and let it steam. So that's done. So that can be turned off. Yes, so with the butter beans, I'm going to let these come to a boil. Then I'm going to turn them down and let these steam. Let these simmer for approximately 35 minutes. So now what I'm doing is working on the tuna. So I had 2 tuna steaks, as I showed you earlier, and what I did was cut them into cubes, and I put in all the seasoning that I put in the peppers and onions earlier. And also I added in the fish seasoning, the blackened fish, the Old Bay, and the seafood seasoning. Okay, so that's what you see here, in addition to the other seasonings I showed you earlier. So the only thing you need to do is just get your hands in there, grab it, and mix and season it up all together, just like that. And then in a pot, again, I have some peppers, garlic, and onions sauteing in a little bit of oil. And I'm going to add this into that pot. Okay, tuna cooks very quickly. Okay, it's very easy to cook. It's great as steaks you can use for sandwiches, but this way is good too when you're going to eat like over rice or noodles, if you cut it into the cubes. So that's what I'm doing now. Adding it to our pot. Everything back. With the plates, you make the easy cleanup, or you can use a bendable cutting board or a cutting board, whatever's your choice. So here I put everything in the pot together, and I'm going to saute that. I've transferred the rice to this baking dish, and I'm going to cover it, this baking pan. I'm going to cover it, and as you can see, it's very light and fluffy and delicious, and it's very, very fragrant because of the coconut milk. It just smells delicious. I sauteed the tuna, and I added in 2 teaspoons of garlic buffalo wing sauce, and I'm also going to add in 1.5 teaspoons of this jerk seasoning. And these jerk seasonings are spicy sometimes, even when they say mild, so be careful. So you add it to taste. And in regards to seasoning, I don't measure. So when you're following a recipe that I'm making, you just season to taste for your family. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mix all of this together, and I'm going to let that simmer for about 10 minutes. Because like I said, the fish cooks fast. Here's how the turkey wings are looking. They're simmering away. I added the chicken broth, and I'm going to let these cook. I also added about 1.5 teaspoons of jerk seasoning because I wanted to give it that flavor so it could complement the coconut rice. And as you can see, they're getting very tender. I added about 1 cup of chicken broth. Next, this is how the tuna came out. It came out very delicious. I sauteed it again, like I said, and simmered it for around 10 minutes, and this is the result. Here is the turkey wings, coconut rice, and butter beans all plated up. The turkey wings are nice and tender, yet they're not falling apart. Next, I'm working on the ground beef for the ziti. I cooked it down with the same seasonings as the other food. I drained all of the fat off of the ground beef. Remember to do that so your ziti won't be oily. Next, I'm adding in my sauce. This is the sauce I use. It has a little chunks to it, And they already have peppers, garlics, and onions, and it's well seasoned. So this is a good sauce to use, but you can use whichever sauce that you prefer. I ended up using another half a bottle. That is a 45-ounce bottle because this was a lot of ziti. But what you're going to do now is you're just going to mix all the sauce and meat together until it's all well incorporated. Next, I added my ziti noodles that I boiled previously back into the sauce. And then I mixed everything together well. And like I said, I had to add in another half a bottle of sauce right here. I added another half. This is a 45-ounce bottle. So this takes like 3 regular size jars, or these are the big jars like that you would find at like BJ's. So there it is, all mixed together. And isn't it looking juicy and delicious? You want it to have a little moisture so it doesn't soak up. Next, I use some mozzarella cheese. This is a huge bag. I think this is like a 3-pound bag. And it's up to your discretion. So once you pour the ziti in the pan, you start to add your cheese on top. You can top it with as much cheese as you like. You can use whatever kind of cheese you like. If you want to use cheddar, I use mozzarella right here. You could use a mixture. It's completely up to you. I'm using a lot of cheese because my kids like a lot of cheese. So I'm just going to like completely cover the top. And as you can see, this makes a huge pan of ziti. And this is why I needed a little extra sauce. You will always want to put extra sauce so that when you bake it and then it sits, that the noodles don't soak it all up and you have a dry ziti. That's how people have a dry ziti. I don't like my ziti dry. I like it to still have some sauce and give to it when you eat. So I always add extra sauce. If you don't like it like that, then you can maybe stick to just the 45 ounces. And this is 1 box of ziti noodles. Next, the oven is on 350, and here we go. Here's the finished product. I just leave it until the cheese is all melted, and then there you have it. Baked ziti.